Hello and welcome to episode 12 of the podcast for the recently
Ooh.
deceased. I am your host, Nate Roberts.
I am Rodney Godek. How are you doing, brother?
I'm doing good. I turn 40 years old on Friday. It's
Mm-hmm,
also the
mm-hmm.
day it's also the day Halloween ends.
Yes.
Of course, Halloween ends will be our next episode. So all
Yeah.
all very exciting stuff. I got an early birthday present from my buddy Dave. I just wanted to show off. We all know how much I love Miss Weaving.
Yeah, Samara
Let's get
from
some
Ready or
Ready or
Not.
not, yes, this is where she's smoking a cigarette outside after the family pops, which I thought was one of the coolest, most
Yeah.
like innovative endings to a movie like that. Yeah, really, really good work on that movie. Okay,
Excellent.
well, we're here tonight to talk about Deadstream, a Shudder exclusive. Um,
Yes.
Here we go. I'll just run it down. A disgraced internet personality attempts to win back his followers by live streaming one night alone in a haunted house. But when he accidentally pisses off a vengeful spirit, his big comeback event becomes a real time fight for his life. Written and directed by Joseph and Vanessa Winter, starring Joseph Winter and a handful of other people. Well, like two other people, I think.
Yeah.
All right. For those of you who don't know what we do short wrap up reviews followed by freeform discussion. The discussion will be full of spoilers. The short reviews will not be. So we're going to start with those. Rod, you want to kick it off?
Yeah, sure. So Deadstream. Deadstream is potentially one of um it's definitely the best found footage horror in quite some time. This is probably in the definitely top 10, maybe top 5 found footage horror movies. It all of the potential pitfalls that found footages get into that makes them not very good or less than good. Um, this one does not. It handles everything very well. Uh, the thing that also makes it interesting is that it's combining comedic elements, and it's doing so in the same kind of vein as Evil Dead 2, uh, and it's a treat. It's very refreshing. It's new, it's unique, but it does homage and reference to a lot of stuff that's already come before it with in a respectful way. It's engaging, it's scary in many instances, and it's hilarious in others. It's referential to current cultural type things as he's a YouTuber doing videos and doing this live stream. And it's old school, even like Blair Witch vibes with the setting that it takes place. So it's doing so many different things and it's doing it so well and it's so narrowly focused. I think that the fact that which is it, Joseph Winter and Vanessa Winter, I don't know if they're husband wife or brother sister or whatever the hell. I didn't do that much research on them, but I'm so excited because this is super promising. This is an amazing first film. It came out at I think South by Southwest this year, back in March, and people said it was good, and I've been looking forward to it. But we obviously the year's been going by, and we're just waiting for it. And wow, it's awesome. I watched it twice before this taping tonight, so I loved it. I would highly recommend it to any fan of horror or people that want to get into horror that like comedy horror because it's not as heavy horror. It's perfect. It's a great entry film. It's a great Halloween film. It's good. Watch in the dark with headphones or just in a closed environment with the volume cranked up to hear all the spooky sound effects type horror. So I love it. I think shit. I gave it an 8. I could very easily see myself giving this more, but I want to be cautious with 9s and 10s. It's getting a very hard 8 for me.
All right, excellent. Yes, so this movie was fantastic. It was funny when it needed to be. It was scary when it needed to be. The camera work. It is found footage, but they were so creative. They took found footage to new heights, and it was all realistic. Not obviously the ghosts, but the way a streamer or VTuber or whatever you want to call it would set up a a night in a haunted house stream. He was always prepared with the right equipment for live streaming. He it it felt so real up until the point of like Paranormal Activity, right? Um, you were right there. You were definitely right there with him because of these elements. Evil Dead 2, perfect film to reference in the way that the horror was shot in this movie. It was, it was a horror comedy that is not stupid. It is not laugh out loud, funny or just cranking the jokes out. Um,
Hmm.
what was the other movie you referenced? Blair Witch. It was reminiscent of Blair Witch. I would probably say it is the best found footage movie since Blair Witch. Um, it I thoroughly enjoyed this movie. Even the story, and how much story can you
Yeah.
have about a guy in a cabin in the woods? There is plenty of story. First of all, you've got. Oh wait, I don't want to spoil. All right,
Yeah, yeah.
so, um, what else can I say about this movie? What little gore there was good and subtle. Practical effects. You've got monster makeup, very reminiscent of the Deadites in Evil Dead 2.
Yeah.
Um, the jump scares were good, but they weren't overused. Um, yeah, I think that's pretty good for my wrap up. I have to give this movie an 8 out of 10,
Yeah.
and
Excellent.
and we can call it a hard 8.
Yeah, there you
Yeah,
go. Yeah, I want to get into it because there's so much fun. If anyone's watching and you haven't seen it, this is definitely highly recommend. Do not let us spoil how this movie goes out.
yeah,
Goes through all the beats. Go watch it immediately.
right.
It's well worth it.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to see
It's
the discussion of
under
this.
an hour, and a half. It's fantastic. It's on
Yeah,
Shutter. You might be able to find it in some other way to download it, but go watch it.
absolutely. All right. So, first of all, I love how this guy is having. So he's not just having like a downturn and a comeback. He's actually been ostracized
Right.
because of an event, like
Yeah, he
a
was
thing he did.
demonetized
He
and
was
now he's
demoted.
back.
Yeah, yeah. A thing he did pissed everybody off. He had to make an apology video to get remonetized, and he has at least one of his sponsors back, which is this energy drink company. So I think that story alone, and then when he gets there, he starts telling the story of called the Pratt House, the Mildred
Yeah.
Pratt story, and there's plenty of meat on that bone.
Oh
Like
man.
he tells the story and then he stops and he keeps talking about the stream, and then every once in a while he goes to the chat, and the interactive chat was also fantastic.
Hmm.
Especially when they sent him videos to watch, and then he would
Oh, I
watch the
know.
video.
The way that the plot was kept just pouring out of the movie, it just kept like a
Yeah,
natural, the most natural progression of a story, of a found footage story, where it all just logically
yeah,
fits so fucking nicely into this package of a film. None of it felt cheap or forced or unintentional. Like those
yeah,
videos, like it laid like context and weight and comedy to
yeah,
each of those moments as it happened. The chat was perfect. Uh, and the one thing we didn't really mention it or at the top, but his fucking soundtrack on the tape deck
yeah, yeah, yeah.
was so smart,
He offers the
so
most.
smart.
He offers the most cinematic live stream events.
Yeah.
Is his shtick. So he's got this actual Walkman tape deck with a speaker on it, and he just hits play every once in a while, and it's a different song every time, and that's how this found footage movie got its soundtrack.
And it's like he calls it his Sean Carpenter mix,
Sean
and
Carpenter mix,
it
yeah,
sounds like John Carpenter
yeah,
synth, heavy, deep notes, and
yeah,
it's so moody and it's perfect. And you forget like that is a tape deck, like it works so well and it's so smart. And he plays it, and then just a hard stop on it sometimes because he breaks those barriers so frequently, where he's like spookiness is happening, but now the fourth wall breaks down. He's looking at the camera. He's talking to his viewers that are watching the stream because
Right.
it's existing within the events of the live stream, and it just works. It never doesn't work. It
Yeah.
always works. It's
I
never wrong in what
I
it's doing.
yeah, I never felt like the camera gimmick was cheap.
Hmm.
He showed his wrist thing, his wristwatch, which would
Right.
switch the camera between his two cameras. He set up every single motion sensing camera all throughout the house. They never changed. We knew where they were because he we were there with him when he put them up. Even the story, as far as the symbol that he breaks, the symbol that was warding off the spirits, like there's no actual haunting until he breaks this
Yeah.
sigil that was warding the spirits off, and then the haunting begins. So like it's
Yeah.
not it like it didn't even break its own rules, which was another
No,
great thing about the movie.
man. And it's just it always keeps you on your toes and guessing what's going to happen, and it's like it never lulls.
Right.
There's always a new beat
Yeah.
coming, and you're never you. And it's in one little house. There's 2 floors with a
Yeah.
handful of rooms, and it's just in this little environment. There's outside. There's nothing else going on, and it's always interesting and always engaging. You might see the same hallway or something handful of times, half a dozen or more times, maybe. Uh, but it's always exciting.
Yeah.
It's never boring and never like, oh, okay, the same thing over. No, it's always something different is now happening with the way he's doing it. And the whole idea of him being a bit of a sissy in this stream is he's facing his fears, and his last
Right.
fear that he has never tackled is ghosts and his fear for ghosts. And he's like the bravest guy doing it because he's confronting it all the time. He said
Right.
he's got a promise. He will investigate any paranormal
Any
activity
sound,
that
yeah,
comes
yeah,
up.
yeah,
And so he has to go to the ghosts that just like he saw on the screen.
yeah,
And it's like, and you're just like, you're tense on edge because you're like, the whole thing, people say, nope. Why would anyone go in there? Why would anyone do this? It's like, there's a reason in
yeah.
this
He's gonna
setting.
lose his sponsors if he
Yeah.
doesn't.
And it all works. And so you're like, intrinsically, like you get tense whenever you see like something on the screen, and now he's going to go investigate because it's the unknown, the fear of the unknown. And so you're on edge, and there's so many scares that are super well earned that happen throughout the course of the movie with each little vignette of an interaction with a spirit or whatever, where you're anticipating it, but it's still going to probably happen in a unique way or a surprising way. There's a handful of them like that just got me. Like I'm sitting here, I was in my headphones, I'm watching it in the dark, and it got me. And I rewatched it with my wife and had the volume cranked, and it still was like exciting to watch it. And it was more so because she's not as versed, so she freaks out more. She screamed out loud a couple of times and
Yeah.
like cowered under the blanket. The bed scare with the baby under the
Oh.
blanket that darts towards his legs or whatever. Like she freaked out. And she's like, I didn't see what happened up there because I was cowering under the blanket. She just doesn't do it well. And I was like, I'm just like, I'm rocking the baby. I'm like laughing that she's so freaked out because it's so much more fun to share it with someone
Oh, yeah.
when you kind of know what's happening. That was a lot of fun, man. I can't say enough good things about this movie.
No, exactly. Like, let's move on to the child with the Quato coming out of it.
Yeah.
The
With
fucking,
like an adult
yeah,
Quato
yeah,
head.
yeah, yeah. The monster outdoors. The
The
monster
sheriff
outside.
the monster.
The monster
yeah,
in the
grass,
bushes.
yeah.
Yeah.
By the spark plug.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. How about setting up pretty much every ghost you saw before you saw
With the
them?
story.
With the story.
It's
So
fucking smart.
as soon as you saw the sheriff, you knew that he was corner man right away
Yeah.
because of the picture. You saw the photograph,
Yeah.
right?
And then the streamers start to show it too.
Yeah.
While he's interacting, you see it, and you're like,
Yeah.
they're like reacting in real time with like they are, but he doesn't see that yet.
Yeah, it was so exciting. It was action packed. It was like a J.J. Abrams movie if J.J. Abrams did indie horror, like college level indie horror, because it was like, obviously low budge, but the practical effects still killed, and they had a house. All they had was a house,
Mm-hmm.
a house and a car. you know?
Yeah. All like just man, just the comedic elements in there, like the different ways that play with the cameras. Like when he did the beef stick cam going up
Yeah,
the thing, like I'm like
yeah,
dying, and then he did spear cam talking about the cinema
yeah.
graphic experience he's gonna have, and then the
The
ghost
ghost
gets
gets
the
the
spear cam,
spear.
and you see it.
He puts a camera on Mildred, the main ghost, and he names it Mildred Cam instead of Mildred. Well, he types Mildred first, but then he deletes it
Yeah,
and
he
changes
really,
it
yeah,
to
because he's
dead.
thinking of
He's just like, because he's like quick, like that's like his thing as a streamer. He's like
yeah,
his dialogue was definitely witty enough for that to be legitimate. Yeah, man, this movie was so good. I don't know if it's top five, but it's definitely top 10 for this year.
yeah.
It's gonna be in contention. I'm gonna think about it when we do our top five. Like it is that good. I was that excited during the
Yeah, and
movie.
I'll watch this every year. Like
Yeah. Oh,
I
yeah, no doubt. This is a movie I'm gonna watch multiple times, showing other people the movie.
I can't wait to watch it with other people. Yeah,
Yeah.
that haven't seen it, that I get to introduce to, just to like get so excited to hear the shrieks or the jumps whenever you know it's coming. Like it's still exciting for you, but then you get to see them react, and you take more pleasure because you know they're enjoying it as much as you are.
Oh yeah.
Um, it's wonderful. I think for me, it's gonna be hard for this to get knocked out of the top five. I've been having a hard time filling the top five with ones that I genuinely am interested in
Right.
having that weight of like the best of the year. And I think that this one, I haven't felt this way about another movie this year in a while. Like, I felt this way with Fresh. I felt this way with what the shit? Barbarian.
Barbarian.
This excitement and passion for what just happened.
Yeah.
This movie has got my feelings up there, and so we'll see what happens. I'm hopeful that
Yeah.
we'll get more, but Christ, uh, just you know, I really don't have negative things to say. If I had something negative to say, like I noticed on the second viewing, like a couple things that break a little bit of the illusion or a little bit, but that's such a nitpicky thing.
Yeah.
Never caught it on the first time, and it was just because I was over scrutinizing it in the second watch to see where things break down a little bit. It didn't ruin anything about the experience. It didn't
Yeah.
distract from any of it.
Dude,
Man,
that's that scene where Mildred took him over in the bathtub. It was like
yeah, it's so well done.
there were scenes in this movie that were disgusting. Like actually it was like, "Oh, that's so gross." And it's low budge. Like you're like, "Oh my god, like it's still gross." And what like I said, what little gore there was actually pretty good. When
Yeah,
he stabs right Chrissy in the neck. That looked good. Um,
yeah, that looked very good. That looked
that
very, very real.
yeah, it did. I
And
think
because the way that it was cut, it looks like it's happening in real time. He does it, and like the way it's shot, like he immediately comes back, and it's just the way it was edited. It was like it looked as if they had to put her into that makeup pretty quickly. Obviously, it's just that there's an edit somewhere there, but it looked great.
yeah, yeah, it was fantastic. I only watched it once. I did not walk away from this movie with I think a single flaw.
Right.
Um, maybe like a decision he made I might not have agreed with, but I can't even think of it now. It was probably so inconsequential.
Yeah. The fucking when he's jumping, like, man, highlights like jumping out of the fucking
Oh yeah, he jumps out the
like,
window. Yeah, he jumps out the window. How about he goes into the grate to get the key, and he pulls out the key for the box, and
yeah.
immediately as a viewer you're like, oh, that's the key for the box, and he doesn't even think about it until he goes to
Yeah.
his pad and he sees the chat. The chat's like,
People telling them.
yo, that key opens the box, duh. Like these things were just so well put together and so well thought out. Like
Yeah.
the writing was off the charts,
Yeah.
excellent.
The way that the entity shows up as Chrissy, who is coming off as a fan, and you
Yeah,
don't question it at first, and then you start to maybe suspect it,
yeah,
and then like obviously it's revealed, like, that's what it was the whole time, is that
yeah,
it was her,
yeah.
was Mildred. It's just fantastic, and she's even wearing the clothes by the end of the movie. She's wearing the clothes that they find in the thing at the bottom, in
Right
the basement.
in the basement. Yeah,
Uh, and her sad poems, and he's like, these are like they're pretty bad, but then he's like, oh, it's actually kind of good one. And
Yeah,
she was trying to get him to read the poems the whole time.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
He played that character perfectly. I don't know what he's like in real life, but this like kind of obnoxious, over the top,
Yeah,
uh, dorky but sincere. Like him playing it differently would have ruined the movie if he was too. I'm not saying like he was effeminate, but he wasn't like super masculine alpha type guy that's like not afraid of it. Like he's an inferior type dude. He's the he doesn't want to be in this situation. He's reacting to it honestly.
yeah,
Uh and so because I feel like if it were a different kind of person or different kind of energy or attitude, this movie would fail completely.
yeah. I
The
totally
fact
agree.
that he is the way he is
Yeah, I mean
makes it.
he's on the screen for 100% of the film, so it's literally if he sucks, the movie sucks,
Yeah.
and he knocked it out of the park.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, it's gonna be something that I'll rewatch. The score, the
Yeah,
camera work, it was all great.
his little cassette tape was so funny.
I
Uh,
know.
yeah. He's got to get the spark plugs that he threw in the bushes to get the car to
I know. He
run,
throwing the spark plugs and then locking himself in the
and then
house.
drops the key down the grate. So it's, so he's like, "Fuck this, I'm out of here." Or no, this is the best. Okay, this is one of the best, most subtle things in the movie. He says shit, and then he goes, "Oh wait, I'm sorry, sponsor.
The
I can't
strikes.
do that. I can't do that. I can't do that. I can't say that. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. In fact, this is live and stuff happens.
It's a
I think
extenuating
there should be a
circumstances.
strike rule." And so then from then on, he says like
He gives himself three strikes.
well
Yeah.
he says S instead of shit. He says
Yeah.
B instead of bitch. He says AH. He says C instead of cunt. But then he says shit, and then he goes strike. He like whispers it.
Yes.
Like he goes,
Yeah.
what the hell is that shit? Strike. And then he's like talking about something else immediately, like he didn't even say strike, and you're not even supposed to notice, all right? Like,
Yeah.
and it happens a couple times, and he whispers strike ever so slightly
Yeah.
after he swears. It's so funny.
Yeah.
I thought that was brilliant.
It was. There's so much about it that was just very intelligent, the way that it was written and done. I mean, I don't see how this doesn't come into like just like the fold of amazing horror movies to talk about. Like it has to. But I've been surprised before. Come True doesn't have a large following of people that loved it. Like I mean, I think you didn't love it as much as I did, but you still I think gave it like an 8.
Yeah,
I think I gave it a 10.
it was a great movie.
Uh and it's so low budge. Like I don't
Right.
understand what it is about some of these films sometimes that are amazing. And that's the thing. It has so little. Uh and it's doing so fucking much. Like when you compare to other horror films in the genre, it is head and shoulders above a lot of it out there. A lot of films that are also low budget, but a lot of other films that have tons of money poured into them that are just garbage.
Yeah.
It This deserves an audience. I'm glad it's on Shudder. I want more people to see it.
Uh-huh.
They need to see it. This is fantastic, and see it this month because it's so fucking fun.
Oh yeah, we just reviewed Hellraiser, and that movie was
Yeah,
garbage, and you could tell they
yeah,
threw a ton of money at it just to build that mansion, like for
I
the
know.
movie. Like, come on, like that mansion cost the entire budget of Deadstream, and it was far and away a better film. They're in two different classes. Uh, this Deadstream is so much better than the Hellraiser remake. You can't even compare them.
Mm-mm.
That
Yeah,
one, that's how bad Hellraiser was, but two, that's how good this movie is. And yes, get your Shutter subscription if you don't have it. Watch this movie right away. Watch it in October. Watch it with friends. It's a great party movie.
absolutely.
It's so short. It's 90 minutes. Uh,
There's this when they fall down the stair. He crawls down the stairs at the end, like he falls
yeah,
down them, but he crawls down, and he's like, oh, and he's like limping towards the door. And then Mildred comes down, and she's like, ouch, and she's like reacting also and saying ouch. I'm like, it's like this is so fucking funny. It's
yeah,
awesome.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
and then he duct tapes her to the floor.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
It's
he's
like a dirty floor.
yeah,
It's not gonna stick, but
yeah.
like they just go with the
They just
gag, and then
yeah.
she like breaks. She's like,
She
ugh,
breaks free. Yeah,
ugh.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, but you don't even care. Like you don't roll your eyes at it
But yeah, because
when it
it
happens.
knows, and it's just having fun.
Yeah,
They're
yeah,
having fun.
yeah.
That's the
What
point. Like they get it.
another thing I did like about this movie, you mentioned Evil Dead 2, I mentioned Evil Dead 2, is that yes, these are ghosts, but these guys are obviously fans of the Evil Dead series because these are definitely Evil Dead 2 ghosts. Because as soon as
Yeah.
they became corporal or as soon as they showed themselves off to the humans, they're more like Deadites. They're definitely tangible, right? They punch each other, they
Yep.
punch him,
Yep.
and they're fighting. They're fighting with like fisticuffs. Like this isn't how a ghost would really fight. This is how two people fight, and one of them is just in crazy makeup. So
Yeah.
yeah, kudos to you guys, Joseph and
And Vanessa
Vanessa.
Winter.
Joseph and
Yeah.
Vanessa. Yeah, excellent,
Fucking amazing.
excellent movie. Terrific. If this is your first outing, wow, I'm sure it is. Right? This was their first
I
feature.
didn't double check. Feature. I think that they did a short on one of the VHSs, or they're going to be doing a short on the VHS.
VHS
Or
99.
he was an actor. Okay, he was an actor, director. Yeah, I did a director for that. Well, right, because that would make sense.
Yeah, for
Yeah,
99.
the 99 coming out, so I
Okay.
can't wait for that. But then, yeah, this is the first feature length
Yeah.
um
So
directorial.
excellent first outing. You guys are fantastic. Please keep it up. We need people. We need more people like you in horror.
Yeah, I hope they're getting some money from this, and that they like people
Absolutely. Yeah.
want to do more of them.
Stream
God,
it. Stream it at your house when you're not home. Stream it at your work computer and minimize it so these guys keep getting that revenue. So they can make some more movies. Okay. Do you have any wrap ups?
no, I mean, there's very little. There's nothing that I have to say to complain about. This was an amazing movie. That I like I said, I'll continue to watch it every year, especially at spooky time, Halloween time, to get in the feels, and I can't wait to share with other people. It was amazing. Um, already watched it twice. Might watch it again before the end of the month.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm definitely gonna watch it again before the end of the month, and definitely with a few friends. For episode 12 of the podcast for the recently deceased, I'm Nate Roberts,
I'm Rodney Godek. Take care.
and we'll see you next week.